Track 3 of the Artificial Leaves EP. This song is called Don't Forget About Me, and this is probably the most simplistic on the record, and for good reason, because this one is the most emotional from a lyrics standpoint and from an arrangement standpoint, and we're going to be talking about all those and going through all of this piece by piece, to quote Kelly Clarkson. Alright, so let's start off with the intro for what the demo he sent me was. Alright, so it's just basic strumming. So when he came over to the house to record the song, he had a different idea. This is when we were talking about different arrangements, and I thought from a lyrical perspective, we need to slow it down and make this more emotional. So that's when the piano kind of came into play. So we thought about fading the guitar into the piano. Let's take a listen to this intro. Just two strings. It kind of reminds me of that, what's that Niall Horan song? Waking up to kiss you, but nobody's there. What Niall Horan song is it? I think that's Niall Horan. I'm not positive. So it's just this.
I know we gotta move along, yeah.
Okay, so as the guitar is fading out, the piano is fading in. I'm going to show you guys how I did that. So I have everything to a grid, to a conformed tempo here, 145 BPM. So let's start from this bar right here. Okay, so in these 8 bars here, I had to kind of figure out where is the point, the pivot point, exactly, where we fade out of one into another. So right once we get past bar 5 is when you start hearing the piano. So if we actually count this off here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right once we get to this second set, that's when the piano comes into play.
But I don't want you to go.
Automatically you hear something different vocally. First of all, he's singing it softer, so that has a timbre change. Nothing that I did, that was all James. Props to you on that. But also there's a slight bit of reverb to match the natural reverb on my piano.
But I don't want you to go. You know my heart is happy for you.
Listen to the difference in the emotional context from this and the demo.
Know we gotta move along in life, but I don't want you to go. Know my heart is happy for you.
Now, I still like the guitar strumming in the demo, but in order to make this one really stand out from the rest of the record, that's where we both agreed that changing the arrangement into a piano ballad ultimately suited the song the best. So let's keep on listening a little bit here.
I don't think you understand.
Piano changes. There's a bit of a dynamics change from the piano from this first portion of the verse to the second portion of the verse. So it just stays like this. Know my heart is happy for you. Like that. But once we get into the second half of this verse, listen to how the piano changes. It's a little heavier. right there. Da da da. That little passing tone there. Instead of going straight from the B to the G sharp minor, it goes from a B to an F sharp over A sharp to the G sharp. So it's walking down, which is creating more of a change, and it makes overall for a bigger, more interesting piano than the first half of the verse.
But now go and change the world. Go find that pretty girl and don't let go of her hand.
This was a nice change.
Go and live your
The way James crafted this song, this was an interesting change here, an interesting chord change. Instead of going from, because at the beginning, the da 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 da, after he sings that line, it always goes to the one chord, which in this case is the B.
find that pretty girl and don't let go.
But once they do, I missed the spot, I know, it's right here.
Understand.
There's the one. What he does to create a bit of a shift, which lets the listener know, okay, we're going into a different section here, he changes. Instead of a 1, he goes up and starts at the 2.
Live your happy life.
Walks up to a 4,
Don't forget about me.
and then back to the 1. So even if you weren't really paying that much attention, just from a chords standpoint, you know, okay, this is a different section in the song. So this was very well crafted.
And when you make it to the top, don't forget
Same
to
thing there.
give God the props. And just remember me.
Here's where things really start getting different. I'm going to solo these. Several changes happen in the piano here. It's stereo piano first of all, and also it is more of an arpeggio. Well, not really an arpeggio, but there's two notes being played instead of one. It's mimicking the intro of the guitar in a way. Instead it's a perfect fifth instead of a major third. And then the stays. It's the same walk down. And also my harmony vocal will come in as well, which really accents this little drop down, run down as well.
Be strong. But I hate to say goodbye. You know I'll try my very hardest.
And in my opinion, vocally, the song is the best on the record. And harmony-wise, this might be my favorite as well, because just the blend from us, I'm singing third below as I typically do on a James Yardis track, at least from what I've discovered. Listen to this.
But I hate to say goodbye.
I wanted to start specifically on Hate to Say Goodbye, because that line is meant to be a bigger line than I'm trying to be strong.
Really trying to be strong.
It's like, okay, I see your point. This line is really what drives the message home. Like, say we're in like a Word document or something. There are certain sentences, certain words that you want to be put in bold or to italicize or to underline. Harmonies are the exact same thing. If you look at a song from just a lyrical perspective, what lines are we trying to accent? Which what this means is what harmonies are we adding where? That's why it's not just important what harmonies you do, but it's also extremely important when you do them.
But I hate to say goodbye. You know I'll try my very hardest.
And also when to let go, like right here.
But you know me, I'm I'm gonna cry.
Because also, this section is bigger. This line, you know me, I'm gonna cry, that is a very vulnerable line. So I wanted to cut my harmony away. So that's just him right there. And then we build everything back in the second chorus where there's added stereo guitar strumming that I'll get to in a second.
Cry.
Right here.
So go and live your happy life. Just don't forget about me. When you put on that army green, you'll see the proudest man you've ever seen. When you look at me.
Okay, let's go back to this harmony for a second because I once again switched from the third above. I switched from the third below to the third above.
You put on that army green, you'll see the proudest man you've ever seen.
And we're kind of trading off from there being a harmony line versus a non-harmony line.
Don't forget about me. On that army green, you'll see the proudest man you've ever seen. When you look at me.
So I went up instead of the third below.
You put on that army green, you'll see the proudest man you've ever seen. When you look at me.
And then it goes above into the third above, which I could have hypothetically done a third below for that. It would have, I don't know if this is going to sync up or not. It would have sounded like this.
See the proudest man you've ever seen. When you look at me.
Which, that would have been a low harmony, so it wouldn't really have worked. It wouldn't have worked as well as the higher harmony here.
When you look at me.
And when I was recording that, I did that, and I just got a look from James like, you just crushed that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try and do that again at some point, which I ended up doing.
Though we're miles apart, I will always love you.
Probably the best series of lines in this song, because there is a tension and release going on with the harmonies here, which correlates to the actual chords being used. So let's take a look, see where we are.
And please
Starts at
don't
2.
lose heart. I know that it's hard,
4.
but God's always got you.
1. Okay, let's break this down just a little bit. So, we're starting off on a 2 chord, a C sharp minor, right here.
Please don't lose heart.
In this key that we're in, the minor chord, the 2 minor especially, feels a little unstable, so the harmony supposedly matches here.
Please don't lose heart.
So,
I know that it's hard.
now this was the interesting line. I know that it's hard, because the note that I'm singing,
I know that it's hard.
it's dissonant, which what dissonance is, 2 notes that sound like they're rubbing together. The notes that are being played in the piano, C sharp, E, and G sharp. And the notes that I'm singing harmony-wise, I'm singing a D sharp here. That's not supposed to work.
I know that it's hard.
So it kind of rubs up against it. So this is a really tense moment right here. But then once we transition into the 4 chord, that's the release from the tension we had when we were at the 2.
I know that it's hard.
Hear how everything stabilized? And if we look at this just from the vocal, he is staying on the same note on that G sharp, and I'm going up from the E flat to the E.
I know that it's hard.
Which once again creates that tension and release moment.
But God's always got you.
And then we jump back up to the harmony above James.
God's always got you.
Another reason why I did those harmonies there. So originally, I did this all above him, and it was going to be all head voice, which ultimately didn't really work too well. Did it sound fine? Sure. But going back to the point that I made in the last producing video, you need to blend your resonances when dealing with harmonies, and my head resonance and his chest resonance were not blending. So that is where I had to keep the same harmony that I've been doing, third below, but there were some moments where the third above worked, and so we kept that, and this was one of them.
God's always got you.
And then the harmony drops, everything gets softer.
So when you live your happy life, don't forget the ones behind you. Go and shine out in the dark and soften all those hearts like you always do.
And then the piano rings out at the end. We didn't talk about the guitar, so let's talk about that for a second. It's double tracked. It's just stereo strumming right here. Same thing with the little hammer on, which is a nice change. It was kind of like a bridge, honestly, from one section to another. I don't mean bridge like the song section bridge. I mean, it was just like, it was a filled gap, is what it was. And then the song ends with a piano fade. Well, there you have it. That's track 3 of the Artificial Leaves EP. Vocally, this was my favorite. I love the arrangement of it. And I love the fact that we made this one the simplest on the record. Because of its simplicity, that one really was able to shine in the EP. And that honestly is one of my favorites. And one of his favorites as well. Well, I'll be seeing y'all for another episode of producing these songs. We have 2 more to go for the EP, and then I'll probably at some point post the entire 12 minute interview. Till then, Miss J, signing off. See y'all.